seasons of the Winter Equestrian Festival and the Adequan Global Dressage Festival. I'd like to start and welcome you all. Thank you all for coming and introduce our panelists. Representing our athletes, on the end we have Felicitas Hendricks, who is a dressage athlete representing Germany, joining us for the season. Next to her we have Lillie Keenan, U.S. show jumping athlete. In the middle, Murray Kessler, CEO of Wellington International. Michael Stone, Wellington International President, and on the end, Thomas Baur, Adequan Global Dressage Festival Sport Director. Thank you all for joining us. And because our athletes are competing today, I'd like to start with them and ask them questions first. Felicitas, we'll start with you. You have a storied history here in Wellington. You started competing here when you were 13 or 14, returned to us after winning a U25 European Championship, and then last year, your first Friday Night Stars win, CDI win, 5-star win on your first Senior Nations Cup team. What does Wellington mean to you, and how have all those accomplishments fit into your career overall?
So Wellington has been like the kickstart of everything for me. Whether it was juniors, whether it was seniors, I mean, I really went all the way. And the horse I'm competing here right now, Drumbush, I've brought him already when he was far away from Grand Prix still. So he knows Wellington very, very well, and it's one of his happiest places. And I'm always so happy to prepare him for the European season over here because the conditions are just amazing. The competition organization is fantastic. I mean, it's just perfect conditions all over, so it's always like the perfect start to the season.
And can you speak a little bit to your partnership with Drumbush and maybe what goals you've set for this season throughout the AGDF circuit?
Yeah, so last season was fantastic, and it's kind of hard to beat, but I don't want to think this way. I just want to show the progress we've also made in the winter work. I think we've worked on self-carriage, on like a lot of basic things too, and I'm just going to try to show a very happy and healthy horse and try our best against other very good starters.
And for you as a rider personally, there's a lot of opportunities that exist in Wellington, as we spoke about the accomplishments that you had last year, but have you set any long-term goals for yourself as far as upcoming championships or teams that you've put on your radar?
I mean, of course, I feel like every professional rider's ultimate dream is going to big championships, going to the Olympics, but I think this is just very long-term goals for the future. For now, with Drumbush, I'm just really going to try to go as far as we can, but I don't have a specific championship in mind.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And good luck this whole season here in Wellington. We're really happy to have you.
Thank you.
Lillie, we'll move on to you. Wellington is a really unique place with 12 weeks of FEI competition back-to-back. You as a rider yourself have skyrocketed up the world rankings over the last couple years. Can you just talk a little bit about what the opportunities presented here in Wellington from a top sport perspective help you as a rider and your horses progress?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been coming to Wellington for 20 years. I have jumped FEI here for about 12. And it's the one time of year that we actually get to stay in one place, which is so wonderful to be able to sleep in my own bed every night. I cannot express how much that means to me. I have a few horses that I got as younger horses, and I was able to really develop them in Florida. And each year they come back, and I get to take a step up. Some of the horses I'm jumping in Grand Prix now, I started jumping them in 6-year-olds here. So I think that that's something that's so unique about this place, that we are able to bring horses to the very top level in conditions that they're the most comfortable, and it gives them so much confidence to be able to go in not only the main arena, but also in all of the smaller arenas and get a lot of experience. Also in Wellington, because the industry obviously is more than just the top riders, it's a unique opportunity for us to also develop our business. So I'm able to teach students here. And actually, my mom still rides, and I get to ride with her every single day at home because I'm very privileged. My family has a farm just outside the showground. So it's really the one time of year that we get to all be together. We really get to work on progressing and the first few steps that we need to take towards some of those big goals. And I think that something that's so unique is often you're surprised by how quickly the horses are able to excel here. I had one horse last season that in the second week of the circuit, I was jumping a meter 30, and I jumped clear in the meter 50 final at the very end of the season. So that was a huge development for that horse, and he went on to win his first 5-star Grand Prix later in that summer. I think that everyone that comes here would agree that the conditions and the facilities, it's unmatched.
And similar question for you. You were on the U.S. team for the World Championships in 2022. Can you just talk a little bit about what goals you've set for yourself as far as the next World Championships, and then further the path to LA 2028, and how you're kind of framing your schedule starting with Wellington?
So obviously the goal is obviously going to be LA. And I am lucky that I have a few horses that I would like to think are in contention for that, and you have to plan. But of course, with horses, plans never quite go how you expect them to go, but you still need to lay them out. And really the stepping stone to that is the World Championships next year. I plan to also do that, and every year I will be jumping in Wellington before. So a lot of my Grand Prix horses, I save them the first few weeks, and I jump some of my younger horses in the FEI classes to try to gain experience, and then I pick some of the major 5-stars towards the end of the season so that my horses are up to speed but not completely out of gas before the summer gets going. And the nice thing is this year we don't have a team championship. We have the World Cup finals, but we don't have a World Championship. Obviously, I'm American, so I don't have the Europeans. And really, it's about getting as many points and as many top results as I can in those big 5-stars.
Great, thank you. And then same question for both of you. Obviously, the Saturday night experience and the Friday night experience at Dressage is one that sometimes riders don't get to experience in a whole career. Can you, starting with Felicitas, just talk a little about what a special experience it is to have the Wellington community turn out, pack the stands, cheering loud for you guys as you perform?
Yeah, so I think the special thing about this is just the positive vibe. Like, everyone is just cheering you on. Even if a mistake happens, sometimes I'll hear like an "oh" go through the crowd, but not because they mean it in a bad way, just because they really feel for you and they want you to do good. And I think that's very, very special. And it's like the perfect size, you know, it's not too big, not too small. It's just, it feels like hometown, and it makes it feel very cozy, but at the same time like a big stadium too. It's perfect.
Thank you.
So I would say for the Saturday Night Lights, obviously the atmosphere is electric, and the best horses really grow in that condition. When we go to major championships or really any of those legendary 5-star competitions around the world, you trot in the ring, and the horses, the good horses, they know. And it almost feels like a video game with the crowd. It's like a buzz, and you zone in. Saturday night, you actually get that here, which is really incredible because we get to do it quite a few times. If you're lucky enough to have a Grand Prix horse that you get to jump on the Saturday nights here. So then throughout the year, you feel the most comfortable in that atmosphere, and I guarantee you when the crowd gets into it, we do better.
Thank you. And Murray, we'll move on to you. If you could just share a little bit about your overall vision for the 2025 season for both Dressage and Wellington, and what your big goals are for both the management team and the athletes here to be able to accomplish.
Yeah, I think both of these young ladies are perfect examples about what makes Wellington different from any other horse show or venue in the world, in that it's not just a horse show, it's a destination, and our vision is to keep Wellington the premier horse sports destination in the world. So, you know, I heard about US, but I watched Lillie as a 5 years old cantering around on her ponies for the very first time, and here she is, grown and a successful international rider. But you know, she grew up here, and my daughter was an Olympic athlete, and she grew up here, and I've been coming to Wellington for 48 years. I've only been CEO for 5 weeks now, and I take a lot of pride in the fact that Wellington International is the anchor of this community. And it's a lot of responsibility because there are 1,000 horse farms in close proximity here. There is 400+ million of economic impact to Palm Beach County. We're the #1 sport in Palm Beach County. by far, by multiples relative to PGA, professional baseball, whatever that is. And a lot of people count on us. So Michael and the rest of the management team, we want this to be the very best experience that it can be. That starts with horse sport. We want to put on the very, very best horse sport we can that is safe and fair and looks out for horse welfare, gives great prize money, and we raised the Grand Prix this year from $500,000 to the Rolex finale to $750,000. We want to put on the best production, and I think you'll see us raising our game here this year with the production. It'll even be more electric, especially on those 5-star nights. So it's exciting, and we have a lot in store, but it all starts with the horses, and I'm happy to say, I think Michael can confirm this for me, I think we have 8 out of the top 10 ranked riders in the world coming this season, and 35 Olympic riders between the two venues competing this season, and that's pretty impressive.
Thank you so much. And you touched on it a little bit, but if you could just speak to Wellington's impact economically on the community, but also a huge nonprofit impact through the Great Charity Challenge. If you can just speak a little bit to that and how important it is for Wellington to be a part of the greater Palm Beach area.
Yeah, I think the Great Charity Challenge each year, and it's an event that's run, and teams compete against each other, and charities they all vie to get into support being picked by a team, and if that team wins, they get the biggest pot. But that total pot ends up being about $2.5 million a year, and it's been going on. It's probably $20-30 million that Wellington International has given back to the community. So that's outside of the economic impact, but yeah, we take our responsibility and role in the community very seriously.
Great, and I'd love to touch on as well with a little bit of an announcement, but you spoke a little bit about the Rolex finale and how that is now $750,000 added prize money and part of the U.S. Equestrian Open, the final for show jumping, and then we are hosting 7 qualifiers for the U.S. Equestrian Open of Dressage, which is a new concept founded by U.S. Equestrian. I'd love for you to just speak a little bit what that means for Wellington International, but also what that means in a broader landscape of horse sport in the U.S.
Well, in general, we're trying to raise the sport and spectator awareness, and in general, the way that horse shows economically work, the way we make money, isn't actually what people would think. We actually give away more prize money than we collect in entry fees. That's not where it is, but growing the sport and getting a bigger fan base. And, you know, I started this, I used to be the president of the national governing body, and we want more people competing and riding in sport. And so, you know, having a championship like the U.S. Open is perfect, and we started some of that back when I was there. But Bill Maroney and Tom, as their president, Tom O'Mara, they're focused on raising the game as well and having U.S. Open championships. But we want this to feel like the U.S. Open or Wimbledon or whatever that would be. So major championships are an important part of it. People compete and they get their national rankings, and a few select people go to the Olympics and World Championships, but this gives a much broader group of people the ability to work their way into a championship. So instead of just 3 or 4, there'll be 30 or 40 vying for a championship.
Great, thank you. And Michael, we'll move on to you. We spoke a little bit about the caliber of athletes specific to WEF. We're expecting world number 1, reigning Olympic gold medalist. Can you just speak to what it means to truly have the best of the best here in Wellington competing for the season and then looking ahead to the Rolex finale at the end? What does it mean for the organization as a whole to be able to have that caliber of athlete?
Well, I think as Murray mentioned, you know, we're fundamentally about the sport, and we want to make the sport as good as it possibly can be. And the best way of doing that is having the best athletes in the world compete. And that drives the level for the US athletes because they're going to be competing. It's the opportunity they have to compete against the very best in the world and show how good they are and how successful they can be. And as an organizer, you always want to organize the best. You don't want to organize the second best or the third best. And there really is very few opportunities anywhere in the US except here for that level of competition, and we're very proud of that.
Thank you so much. And Thomas, we'll switch to dressage a little bit. I'd love for you to just kind of give a preview of what we can expect at dressage. We talked about 7 US Open of Dressage qualifiers, but just speak to the highlights of what we can see at dressage across the street this season.
Yeah, Adequan Global Dressage Festival 2025. We have 7 CDIs for the Friday Night Stars. 4 of them are World Cup qualifiers. We have the CDIO, the FEI Nations Cup in week 7, 1 4-star, and then last but not least, the highlight of the season, the 5-star in week 10. In addition to that, we're running 10 national shows and 2 CPEDIs. CPEDIs are para-equestrian international shows. And we started that in 2016, right before the Rio Olympics. And the sport in para in this country has grown so much, and they won in total, I think, 8 medals in Paris. 5 are gold, and I think that is also a tribute to Wellington. We were part of that journey, and we will do a tribute to the Paralympians on Friday, 6:45 during Friday Night Stars. We will have Rebecca Hart, Kate Schumacher, and Fiona Howard there, showing a bit what para-dressage is. I'm actually very proud of being part of that journey with the paras, because that was quite a success story over the years. So that's the overview for AGDF 25.
Number 1, 2, and 3 ranked para riders in the world right
Correct.
now are from the US, and back when that journey started, we didn't have any in the top 10.
And I think it's probably worth mentioning that it was Murray, as president of the USEF, who spearheaded the growth, and then in your other life sponsored the paras. And without his support back then, which he's not saying much about it now, but without it, they wouldn't be anywhere close to where they are.
And Michael, I'd like to come back to you as well. We spoke from the athlete's perspective, the experience of Friday Night Stars and Saturday Night Lights. But if you could just speak to the community for a moment and give them a preview of what they can expect coming to Wellington International on a Saturday night and to Adequan Global Dressage Festival on a Friday night.
I think the main thing is it's fun. It's very high level sport, the highest level you can watch, but it's also fun. It's also free. So you $20, or I think it's 22 or something now because of tax, but it's for your car, and you're here for the night. We have great food opportunities. We have everything from the very highest level VIP right down to hot dogs and hamburgers and a Budweiser. So whatever anybody wants, they can find it at both venues. And I think it's really important for the community to have this in their backyard. And I think anyone who was here last Saturday night at Battle of the Sexes, where we had the biggest opening night we've ever had, it was close to what in fact, maybe it was even as big as a 5-star event. All our hospitality venues were overrun. We almost ran out of food. Won't happen again. But it was really, it was hugely popular. And I think it's a credit to the team, our team, who not only promote it, but then deliver. And I think that's what the community like. And just the fact that they can come literally watch Olympic champions in both disciplines and also have a great night out is an amazing opportunity for everybody.
And it's a great family experience. There's pony rides and face painting and a carousel, and the music's playing, and it was a big Saturday night last Saturday night, and it was jam-packed.
I'd like to open it up for questions. If anyone has any specific questions for Lillie and Felicitas first, so we can release them to go compete. They have horses waiting for them. So if anyone has any specific questions for them, I'll pass the mic to you. Otherwise, thank you so much for you two for joining us.
Thank you.
I can let you both go. Good luck today.
Thank you.
And then if there are any general questions for Thomas or Michael or Murray.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Danke,
Thank
Felicitas.
Danke.
You're good? Yeah.
Hi, Michael. How are you? Hi, Michael. I have one question. I know you want to try to make it big as the U.S. Open, as it a big event. What is the project, or what is the plan to do that?
We're starting off slowly. We're going to enhance all our production so that it becomes much more like a major, any sort of major sporting event. We're working on raising prize money. Again, like we've already got 8 of the top 10 riders going to show here this year. The world number 1, I think, starts this week, and he's going to be here for the whole season. So as I mentioned earlier, by increasing the level, you're going to enhance the sport. Enhancing the sport is going to attract more people to come, and that's where we need the enhanced production to show people that this really is a real top-class sport, just like the US Open, the Masters, or any of those type of really big events.
Yeah, we've already invested in a short amount of time, in the 5 weeks of our ownership, and some of it was put in place beforehand, but these are all new stadium LED lights that give us the ability to enhance the production. The old ones were vapor lights that if you turned them off, it would be a half an hour. Now they can dim, they can flash, they can be turned off, darken the arena and make it a higher quality performance like you were going to any other major league event. The scoreboard is brand new and much more advanced, and you'll see a lot of technology being brought to it this year as well, and you'll see it all season, but for the 4 or 5 stars, you'll see even a higher elevation of production.
Any other questions? Before we end, Murray or Michael, I'd love for you to just touch a little bit on the partnerships that we've created within the industry and beyond through Rolex, through the US Open. Just talk a little bit about the partners that we have coming on board and supporting both dressage and jumping here at Wellington International.
Well, Rolex is a critical and large partner for us, and I think the premier sponsor within the global equestrian community. So they're not just sponsoring us. We're part of the Rolex series, and we're the finale for the Rolex series. They have their Grand Slam events. They're great partners. If they're watching, I'm wearing a Rolex. They give us a lot of freedom, but they want it all to be quality, and they allow us to make sure it's the best event possible. And they always, you would think they would be super commercial, but they're not. They care first about the sport and the riders that they sponsor, and animal welfare, and horse welfare, and rider safety, and they're spectacular. And we have a whole roster of others. NetJets has come on board and been incredible, and we have a new whole facility now, the NetJets Landing, this year that we didn't have before, thanks to them. Adequan's an incredible sponsor that's been with us for a very long period of time on the dressage front and to a lesser extent on the jumping front, but they're our premier sponsor over on that side of it, and there's a whole host of others. And USEF, again, I have a very strong relationship because I was the president over there, but these aren't my ideas for the US Open. That's what they've done in the last 3 or 4 years, and that's an incredible partnership. And I know I can, if I have any questions or whatever support we need, they're there for us, and they know that we understand their mission too, which is is fairness, safety, good sport, but and promoting the sport at all levels.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you to the three of you for being with us and for everyone who joined us. And I'd like to wish everyone a great 2025 season. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.